Good evening, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 coming to you live from a really top secret location on the road trip football this week. So, hey, great to have y'all with us. Whoever will be here, we are both on Twitch and YouTube tonight. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe on the YouTube side, and follow us on Twitch. By the way, tonight's show's only made possible because I messed up and didn't have enough IT stuff to help. But hey, tonight's guest producer is the great Mrs. Dadman Walking. Let me say hello to her really quickly. Hello,
Hello,
sweetheart.
hello. Hey, Atwood, what's up, y'all?
Hey, how are you doing tonight, Mrs.?
I'm doing good. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. I
Just
just
in chat.
yay. Hey, like I said, it's I had a plan. I forgot it. So Mrs. Tonight got
Well,
four
you know,
emails
you've
with
had a
slides.
lot go. You have a lot going on at work, so
Yeah,
you did the homework. You got it all done. You just had to email it to me.
yeah, it was
So,
interesting, but we made it last. We made it happen. So, like I said, don't forget the Twitch side. I don't know if you're able to check my Twitch side and turn off my make a the
oh,
emote
let me
only
see if
off over
you're.
there.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do
So,
that right now.
yes, but yes. So Mrs. Tonight will be in the background mostly and uh running the slides for us. Although I think there might be one part where she might jump on to opine a little bit about something that we have in a few minutes. So, well, with that said, Mrs., shall I get started and get going?
Okie dokie. You want me to
All
put the
right.
first
And
slide up?
hello, Atwood. Yes, and hello, Atwood. I'll formally greet you. Yep, go ahead and put up the first slide, Mrs. And we will move tonight with tonight's SEC Football Weekly. Gosh, guys, it was I guess I could bring it up. So there you
Can
go.
you? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
Okay,
All right. You have to advance
bye.
it. Bye. All right. So, hey, that phrasing. But hey, anyway, folks, thank y'all for being here tonight. Hey, listen, we say our show is not for gambling. It is just having fun, talking about some football, about the week that was, the week to come, and a little bit in between some other football news as it arises. So feel free to share out the stream and everything else. Actually, while I'm thinking and talking, I am actually sharing the stream out myself again because ah, you know, and make sure I like myself because um, if you don't, like Mrs. says, if you don't like yourself, who's going to like you? Or it's very important to like you. What she says something like that. But hey, do 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 do. All right, there we go. Out. All right, there you go. And thank you, Mrs. for your tweet, and I appreciate that all. So let's see. Let us get going with this tonight. All right. So, folks, yeah, as you normally know, when I talk about football, I talk about the week that was, the week to come, and we follow that. So, let's take a look at the week that was. Um, the effects, before we get into the games, this is the effects nationally after the week 7 of games. As you can see, there, excuse me, there are 8 SEC teams in the top 25 popped off by not surprising Georgia. I mean, Texas. Yeah, I really want Georgia to be number one, but no, it's the Texas Longhorns with 56 first place votes at 6-0. Number one. Number two is an deserving Oregon team who barely beat the Potato Wedges of Idaho and struggled with some really weak competition early in the season, but they did outlast Ohio State, even with a cheating coach. No, it wasn't really cheating. It was according to the rules, but now the national coaches and the national officiating has cleared up the rule to prevent it from happening. If you were not watching the game, Oregon and Ohio State was playing in Eugene on Saturday, or with about 10 seconds left. Oregon, just before play started, slipped another player, had 12 players on the field, slipped them in at last second. Well, folks, if you remember, we talked about certain rules a few weeks ago. 12 men on the field is usually blown dead and the play doesn't happen. But if the officials don't see it before the play starts, they let the play happen, they call the penalty. Well, what happened in this game is Ohio State threw a pass, but it took 4 seconds off the clock. So they lost. It was down to 6 seconds. And then if you saw the end of the game, Ohio State on the last play ran the ball. Quarterback did not get down in time and ended up running out. But they could have used those 4 seconds. So what has happened is they are now addressed to make that a dead ball penalty to if the clock runs that the offensive team can elect to take the 5-yard penalty and to put the time back on the clock where it was before the play was run. So, and of course, the Oregon's coach admitted that they do that stuff. Is it against the rules? Was it against the rules? No, it wasn't. But you know what? That's the problem with competition these days. Just because it's not disallowed doesn't make it right. There's the integrity. There's the spirit of competition in the game. And God, I hate these damn dirty coaches with this stuff. That is dirty to do stuff like that. Just put your 11 people out there and quit screwing around. Just play the game like a man. Play like it's always done. Don't sit here and do this chicken stuff. But say Oregon is number 2, so let's hope that they get the bit crap beat out of them very soon. And of course, Penn State is moved up to number 3 by default. We're waiting for Penn State for its annual meltdown. Just waiting to see what happens with that. But they all 3 are 6-0. All have moved up by Ohio State's loss, who fell only to 4. Just ahead of the Georgia Bulldogs, still at 5-1 with 1,300 points in the votes. Followed by Miami of Florida. The Hurricanes are up to 6 now. Alabama is at 7, remaining there. LSU jumps 5 spots on the back of this week's win over Ole Miss. Of course, Tennessee has moved down 3 spots after beating Florida in a very, very ugly game. We'll talk more about that coming up. Iowa State has now cracked the top 10, moving up to number 9. Clemson rounds out the top 10. Notre Dame, BYU are 12 and 13 after, like I said, Tennessee falls to 11th. Texas A&M, a team that did not expect much early in the season, is now up to 14th at 5-1. A real turnaround season for the Aggies. Still a lot left for them to play, a lot left on the line, especially looking down the road to the end of Thanksgiving weekend. Folks, so many great matchups of football on the Thanksgiving weekend. And A&M and at Texas will be playing again for the first time in years. Something to look for. Ole Miss falls 9 spots, the big dipper of the week, having lost to LSU. Now they're unhappy people in Oxford with Lane Kiffin, who I've said I wanted to be the Gator coach. So we'll see what happens with that. Missouri is up 2 spots after losing a couple weeks ago, but then they get back on the winning ways. It's a very bad UMass team. Of course, what's kind of neat with this poll this week, you got Indiana number 16 in the nation. Hey, that's the Big Ten, but you know what? Still, it's good to see some new faces, new blood in some of these things. Indiana's 16th. But hey, Illinois is still in the top 25 at 22. And hey, we've got 2 service academies in, both undefeated. Army and Navy at 23 and 25, both 6-0. Both actually throwing the football a little bit these days, which is a miracle. But hey, it's good to see 2 undefeated service academies, both in the top 25. And of course, yes, there's only 2 top 25. I threw this one in for the misses because look who is just outside the AP top 25. Would be 26 of his top 26. It is nobody other than Vanderbilt. The Commodores are on the verge of making the top 25. Very well could we this week if they win today. So, hey, yeah, misery and yeah. Exactly. Go Vandy. Absolutely. So we got that going. That's the top 25 that we have now based on this week's action. And we, like I said, some new surprises. I think it's a really good year for football. It's like some have talked about. It's really parity this year. There's a lot of balance. There's a lot of surprises. There's a lot of new faces in a lot of places, and a lot of the teams that are normally rough and tumble, easy wins and all are having trouble. I mean, you look. Oregon's had trouble, even though they're undefeated. Penn State's had a few survivals. Ohio State, Georgia, they've all had struggles. Miami of Florida took a desperate 4-quarter comeback to win at Cal a few weeks ago. So Alabama's down, LSU's up and down. So see what happens with this team. And Tennessee is not the offensive dynamo under Judge Heupel this year. So we shall see. All right. Well, with that, we will move on, folks. We will move on to the next, and we will take a look at last week's bad games. We're not going to waste time on these. Missouri goes on the road at Amherst, crushes UMass 45-3. In a game, there's a disappointment because Oklahoma's offense has decided to leave them this year. The Longhorns crushed Oklahoma 34-3 in the Red Rivalry shootout at the the Texas State Fair in Dallas, Texas. So hey, border war right there. A lot of passion, a lot of hatred. Game that should be intense. It was early on when Oklahoma got an early score after a Texas turnover, but did not last very long. It went south quickly. This was a game in one of the prime viewing time slots at 3:30. Normally, it had always been a 12 o'clock game, but now on ABC, was moved back to 3:30, and well, Oklahoma still didn't show up. So we will now move into our first game of the week. What we have from last week, and yes, it is the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt goes on the road, plays in Lexington, and comes away with a 20-13 win over the Kentucky Wildcats. Diego Pavia was again efficient, throwing the football 15 of 18, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have a pick, but he also ran the ball for 53 yards. While Bart Vandegrift for Kentucky was 15 of 25 for 158 yards, a touchdown, and ran the ball for 37 yards. Dane Key for Kentucky had 8 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown on the day. Statistically, Kentucky looked like had the numbers, had the offense, but 2 turnovers cost them. Vanderbilt held the ball for 34 minutes, so time of possession wore down the Kentucky team. Diego Pavia is probably going to be like one of the maybe a candidate for freshman. Well, he's a senior, but newcomer of the year or something, some league awards before this is all over. Considering the turnaround that Vanderbilt has had this year with him and some of the coaching staff that had come over from New Mexico State to Vanderbilt, and really is surprising. Really surprising to see the difference that they made. It's definitely a different Vanderbilt team. Unfortunately, they'll have it for only 1 year, though. Maybe it is possible to win at Vanderbilt if you can get an offense, if you can get a quarterback. So who knows what the future holds for Vanderbilt? 4-2. Imagine they'd be 5-1 in the top 25, folks, if they had beaten Georgia State. How do you lose to Georgia State but beat Alabama? That's still going to be the thing that they kick themselves in the butt with. Why did we lose to Georgia State? Also, they lost by a field goal in overtime to Missouri. So this is a team that could have very easily been 6-0 this year with the Commodores. But you go on the road, get a win in the SEC. It's a big thing. Kentucky now, after their win over Ole Miss, it's kind of taken a step back the last 2 weeks. But again, lack of scoring, lack of offensive production for the Wildcats, doom them again to another loss. All right, and we will move on. And folks, if there are any games that you want to talk about, if there's anything that you saw this weekend, please feel free to share with us, and we would appreciate that chat. And speaking of the Georgia Bulldogs, the former number 1 team, still dominant threat in the SEC. They in a game that's not as close as this score, they beat Mississippi State at home 41-31. A lot of offense in this one. 28 first downs for Georgia to 17 for Mississippi State, but Georgia amassed 605 yards offense and held the ball for 7 more minutes than Mississippi State, but committed 2 turnovers in this. Carson Beck throws for 459 yards, 3 touchdowns, but also throws 2 picks in this. Michael Van Buren for Mississippi State in his first start throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and an interception, and a very impressive outing. Unfortunately, they fell behind too early. Could not come back in this game. Arian Smith for Georgia has 5 catches for 134 yards. He had a huge day in terms of yardage and production. Kelly Akari for Mississippi State, had 3 catches, 72 yards, and had 2 touchdowns on the day. So really a good fight out of the Bulldogs of Mississippi State in the game here that they could have just shrunk away early on and just stayed put out in their misery, but they did not. They fought back, kept Georgia on their toes for the whole game. This is a game that would not really go away. They fought, so hey, well, hey, in any event, the Dogs won this game. The Dogs were going to win this game no matter what. So, all right. So, well, there you go, Georgia Bulldogs. So, yeah, I Georgia did not run the ball very much. I mean, you see 146 yards in the running game in this game, but it's more running back by committee. I'd really like to see what Trevor Etienne get turned loose and let him, but he only had like 11 or 12 carries for about 40, 50 yards this time. I say, more of a shared effort in the running game for Georgia this time, which will be interesting in not this week, in 2 weeks, November, the first Saturday in November, when they face the Gators in Jacksonville. Will be interesting to see ATN going back against the Gators and seeing what will happen in that game. I'm looking forward to seeing that. All right, so we will move on to our next game of the week. We've got the South Carolina Gamecocks went on the road to Alabama. The Crimson Tide survived this game, folks. This was wow, folks. This was a game that started off as Alabama jumps up right up on South Carolina. They take a 14-0 lead. You think, okay, this game's over. Pretty nothing to see here. South Carolina rallies, scores a touchdown, then gets a safety when Jalen Milroe commits intentional grounding in the end zone for the 2-point safety. Then South Carolina moves down, takes a 19-14 lead before, I tell you what, Alabama comes back in the third quarter. Alabama took a 27-19 lead late in the game with a late touchdown by Jalen Milroe. South Carolina, I tell you what, folks, this was a game. I think Mrs. watched a little bit of the end of this one with me. It was really interesting to see, and her nervousness on this one. So South Carolina amassed 374 yards of offense, passing 279 through the year, 100 rushing, which is unlike South Carolina. South Carolina usually does more on the ground than they do through the air, but Jalen Milroe threw for 163 yards on this game. So Jalen Milroe threw for a touchdown, had 2 touchdown running, but he also threw 2 picks. Lenora Sellers had I think I messed this one up, but hey, it's on me. Lenora Sellers threw 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. South Carolina scored 19 unanswered points after trailing 14-0 in the second quarter. And as we talked about, this game got really interesting at the end. There's 2 minutes left. Alabama scores a touchdown, goes up 27-19. South Carolina scores a touchdown with 43 seconds left in the game, goes for 2 to tie it. The quarterback sails the ball into the first row of the stands over a wide open wide receiver. That could have tied the game, but then they had another chance when they recovered the onside kick in the game, which was not kicked from a tee. It was a drop kick, onside kick. The spin on that ball was classic. It was amazing. Bounced off Alabama players. South Carolina recovered it, but honestly, messed up with the offensive lineman catching a pass instead of letting the ball hit the ground to stop the clock. Ran the clock down. Quarterback ended up panicking, launches a Hail Mary with nobody in the end zone, picked off by Alabama, who runs out the clock. So, folks, this and hello, Brian Harris. Yo, hey, yay. All right. Well, we'll talk about both of those things about Graham Mertz and the Kentucky Gator game coming up very soon. So, we will definitely be on that shortly. Great to have you with us tonight. But, folks, I tell you what, if you're an Alabama fan, there's a lot to be concerned about now. After 2 weeks of bad performances, losing to Vanderbilt. By the way, folks, there's a YouTube channel and they're on Facebook, SEC Shorts 2024. They are loving Vanderbilt this year. You got to check out that site. It's hilarious. But if you're a Vanderbilt, Alabama fan, yeah, you have every right now to be concerned. this week it gets no easier because you are going into the buzzsaw that is Knoxville, Tennessee. And well, we'll see what happened in Knoxville and what I think about that. But yeah, but hey, you win in advance. It's all at the name of that's the name of the game at this point. You win, survive. Second loss would have been very gut wrenching to Alabama in terms of playoff positioning and everything else. So, all right, with that, we will go ahead to our next game, and we will see. And a game that I did not get to watch really because I think I was too busy with the Tennessee Florida game uh, the other night when this game was on, and I think when that was done, I was ready for bed. But it was a really interesting game. Comes down to the end. You know, Ole Miss and LSU go to overtime. LSU scores in overtime to win this game. Garrett Nussmeier's 22 of 51. Not a very productive evening. Threw for 337 yards. Still threw 3 touchdowns. And again, 2 interceptions. But one thing about him is that he's said to be very resilient, and he keeps throwing the ball no matter what. So, hey, yep. Of course, Ole Miss in this game, comes in with one loss. They struggle to again find offense, this time on the road at LSU. Commit 2 turnovers. Those also, Jackson Dart was 24 42 for 284 yards. And oh man, I have got to watch my slides this week. I thought I paid attention to them. But hey, it's the numbers on the bottom are what's real. Uh-oh. Hold on, sorry. Mrs. Give me Mrs. Cover for me a second because I had let's see. Uh, Okay, never. I had a pop up on my screen.
Am I supposed to be covering?
You were. But I got rid of the pop up that popped on my
Oh,
screen.
okay. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you, though, Mrs.
Hello,
Appreciate it.
goodbye.
Yes, yes. Um, Kyron Lacy had 5 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown for LSU, while Caden Lee and Trey Harris, both for Ole Miss, had 9 catches for 132 yards. For Caden Lee, Trey Harris, dominant SEC wide receiver, 7 catches, 102 yards and a touchdown. Also, Ole Miss had a running back that ran for over 100 yards. So offensively, Ole Miss was very productive on the grounds in terms of yardage, but could not translate into points on the scoreboard. So, which now has led to LSU fans are happy. Ole Miss fans are not happy because there's been some now groaning about Lane Kiffin out of Ole Miss. And can he win the big game? No, not usually. Hey, Comet Really Crusader, are you ready for some football? Yes, sir. Good to see you tonight, Comet Really Crusader. Always glad to see you and hope you're doing well tonight. So this game has some effects. LSU now is still staying in position to make the SEC championship game. Ole Miss now, 2 conference losses. They have no margin of error, and they might be out of it already. So we will look at. Actually, Mrs. That reminds me, I probably do need to pull up a conference standing. I think I forgot that one screen this year. So, hey, it's all good. All right, we'll move on to our next game of the week with this. So, this is the last game that we'll be talking about from last week. Yes, the game of all dead games. The Gators go into Rocky Top and come out with a very unimpressive, uninspiring loss in overtime. Folks, you could have watched paint dry and have been more exciting in the first half. Florida was 0 for 3 in scoring opportunities in the red zone in the first half. This team should have been up 17 or 20 to nothing at halftime. They were up 3-0. You know what I say? Oh, I swear that my slide screwed up because I know I had these numbers in right, and those numbers are way off again. So my bad. My apologies on the yardage and the stats. But folks, what we had really here again is that the Florida quarterbacks combined for 20 of 32 on passing, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looks good, but hey, interception, a lost fumble by Graham Mertz inside the Tennessee 1-yard line in the first half. First half, like I said, you had the fumble at the 1-yard line, gave up the ball. You had another play where fourth and truly a chain link. That's all they had to get. You have your big running quarterback in the game. You have him shotgun and run a jet sweep that gets stymied in the backfield. What kind of coaching incompetence this week? It's hard to rant about it again. This team was not prepared. This team had lacked any fire. The coaching staff lacked fire. They just sat back. Also, 12 men on the field at the end of the first half, which negated a field goal, which negated 3 points again. And the coach sent the player back on the field. I mean, what needs to be? There's nothing else you can say about it. It's just the same old stuff again. Why they're not firing the guy yet? Who knows? It's whatever. Same. So and yeah, so yeah, I know some Tennessee people. Some people believe that Mertz if Mertz stayed in the game, Florida was going to win that game. Exactly. So, but hey, give Tennessee credit. They struggled. They fought through it. They did they didn't give up. They stayed with it. And Dylan Sampson, I'll tell you, is a heck of a running back for Tennessee. 27 carries, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns on the night. Nico had 16 and 26. Not a great throwing night, 169 yards and a pick. But he had a freshman pick, kind of like Lagway did too. As I mentioned, UF only led 3-0 at half. Was 0 for 3 scoring in the red zone and had a field goal taken off the board at the end of the half due to 12 men on the field. Yeah, yeah. So, and yeah, we also the running back got hurt too. But injuries are part of the game. You have to step up and overcome them. But yeah, this Billy Napier's had 3 years to do it, and this is the example of his 3 years in Gainesville. This is a team. This game, everybody said Florida should have won. The Tennessee fans were dreading this game. The Tennessee radio people, and I'm thinking you guys are idiots, crazy. And then as this game went going on, and you're like, Tennessee's not taking this game. Uh, Tennessee's like, see here. It was like here. Each team looked at each other and said, "Here, hold my beard to see if you can throw the game away." I mean, and Tennessee's incompetent. Florida's, hey, well, let's see. I'll outdo you. I'll fumble at the 1 yard line. Or Billy Napier, I'll run a jet sweep instead of doing a quarterback sneak with a 240-pound quarterback. And and then the 12 men on the field when he sent the player back on the field who was hurt, but they sent him back on the field. That's coaching, folks. And I tell you, the problem is with Florida, if they don't do something soon and make these games interesting where people want to watch the games, people won't watch the games. And what's going to happen is they're going to be left behind by Texas, Alabama, Georgia. They're already way behind. You got teams like Tennessee passing them. I don't know. But we'll talk about more about Florida coaching situation. So we'll go ahead and move on for that one because honestly, I had more rants the other day about that game, but I don't know. It's so hard to be a broken record saying the same thing again and again, week to week. It's just that Billy Napier finds new ways to lose games each week and finds a way to still stay employed. I mean, I know it's a $26 million buyout, but you know what? How about get somebody in there, at least do something where the fans may be excited for game week. This week, when they have Kentucky coming to town, I am not excited about it. It's a 7:45 SEC network game, but I'll watch it. I mean, if there's a better national game, I'm probably going to watch that. If there's a better, we'll take a look at what's coming up. Alabama, Tennessee will be Saturday night. I am going to be watching that one more probably. And I hate to say that, but I like covering football and I like good football. But which leads us to this week's games coming up. Hey, folks, we got quite a few some interesting matchups, not so good. Leading off early is Auburn at Missouri. The Tigers go on the road to play the Tigers. Tigers return home again after a brief step out of the conference for a week up to New England. And hey, B from O, good to see you. Speaking of Auburn, here right in time for the Auburn Auburn game. But yeah, the Tigers go to Missouri. Peyton Thorne is a quarterback for Auburn. Missouri comes off a recent loss a few weeks ago, so it's Let's see which Missouri team shows up this week. Auburn, will they settle down at quarterback position or not? What's biggest problem with Auburn right now is finding a reliable quarterback. Um, so that's the biggest problem. Auburn has some fairly decent defense, has some playmakers actually, but if the quarterback keeps throwing it to the other team, that makes it difficult. So, all right. So let's see. Let's see. Uh, that's not what I want. I don't want eye candy like that. Let's see. Now, I'm actually trying to bring something up as we are talking real quick. In this series, Auburn, let's see, Auburn against Missouri. I'm actually having to do internet on my phone too while I'm doing this. So, Winspedia.com is a great site if you like college football. This will be the fifth meeting in the series. Currently, Auburn has won 3 games in a row dating back to 2013. Uh, Largest margin of victory for Auburn is 51-14. They've won the last 3 games. Missouri won one time, 34-17. So this is really not a series that has a lot of history. This is because since Missouri came in the conference back in 2012, they were in the East, Auburn in the West. So they didn't play every year. They weren't a natural every year matchup. Oh wow, we got 10 people now. Yay. Thank y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. We got to get some of our subscribers back. But hey, what's important is you guys are here tonight. That's what really counts. I appreciate y'all being here. Let's see. So, again, this is going to be a case of what kind of production Auburn can get out of the quarterback position. Will ball security be a big thing? And Brady Cook and Luther Burton get on track for Missouri's offense against the Auburn defense. South Carolina, the Gamecocks go on the road to Oklahoma to play the Sooners. This is a battle of normally incompetent offenses. But South Carolina has had some good offense at times. They've had some very bad, mediocre offense at times. What's kind of interesting with this game is it's a shame it didn't happen last year because last year Oklahoma's former quarterback Spencer Rattler was playing for South Carolina. But hey, so give me a second. When I get down to that, I'm going to take a look at that. Okay. So let me take a look at that in a second, because a lot of things with matchups and TV deals, Lenore Sellers has been a very had a very good year. At times up and down for South Carolina at quarterback. The running game's been solid. The defense has been solid too, which leads to the question with Oklahoma. What's wrong with the Sooners offense? A school that has historically had wide open passing attack, great scoring offensive, and now cannot move the football, cannot score points. They've struggled. They barely beat some teams this year at home, Tulsa or Houston, and some other games that they could have lost very easily, but could not score points. Tennessee was another game where they could not score offensively. So again, it's interesting to see the Sooners in such a state. That is definitely something we're not used to seeing from them these days. So, all right. So let me take a look at these 2 games. Let me look at the schedule itself. Let me get the times that are up there. The this one. Let's see. Get us to the SEC schedules. Yes, Auburn, Missouri at 12. South Carolina, Oklahoma is on the SEC network at 12:45. Well, but CB, you hit it. We're now at the Alabama Tennessee game. Well, B from actually 3:30 p.m. on Saturday is considered prime time for your big SEC matchups. It's actually more prime time for an SEC game than night at times. But there's another bigger reason. You have Georgia, Texas, number 5, number 1, playing at that 7:30 slot. That's why. In this case, they did not run Alabama, Tennessee at 7 p.m., which they did to Florida last week in Tennessee. So, all right. Have a good night, Rylan. Good to see you again. But hey, we'll be talking about Florida very, very soon. Uh, so, but rest well. So that's the reason why B from O is why that this game is at 3:30, not 7:30. You have a much bigger fish out there that warrants the attention. So, but let's see. Let me try to. Nothing like trying to get your phone to work right with the internet. There you go. So, hey, Wade, good to see you. Bama, fall stink. Yeah, they're stinking right now, but hey, you never know. They're still at home this week. So speaking of that, let's take a look at Alabama. Let's take a look at Tennessee in this matchup. Let's get some historical context in there. So, folks, if you have any comments on these matchups, feel free to opine, share your feelings, and we'll talk about it. So let's see. Tennessee. All right. Alabama, Tennessee in a very heated rivalry, guys. Uh, Alabama leads this series all time 59-39 with 7 ties. Uh, Bama has had a long history of long win streaks in this. Um, Alabama won the last game in 2023. The largest margin of victory for Alabama in this series is 51-0. The longest winning streak is 15 games in a row. Tennessee's largest margin of victory has been 41-17. The longest win streak for Tennessee has been 7 games. This is how dominate. It's kind of like the Florida series. Florida and Alabama have been 2 of Tennessee's biggest rivals in years. Florida had won like 17 of 19 against Tennessee. Well, up until 2022, Tennessee had not beaten Alabama since 2006. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Alabama has won 16 of the last 17 games until 2 years ago, where Tennessee escaped with a 52-49 win, and they actually tore down the goalposts, marched them out, and dumped them in the Tennessee River. So will that happen again coming up? We don't know. But we got a game two teams that really are not in positions that we expect them to be. Alabama comes in with 1 loss. It very easily should or could have 2 losses. Tennessee should have 2 losses. For some reason, by Florida's incompetence, 1 at home against the Gators. Also, neither team is really productive on offense like they've been known to be. But teams have historically put up a lot of points in recent years, but have really struggled in recent weeks to find the end zone consistently. What gives out? Do we have a slugfest like we did with that game last week? Both games kind of slugfest. Or is it going to be ugly first half football with Tennessee, Florida, or is it going to be wide open track meet stuff? We don't know. Who knows what to expect in this game? But hey, at 3:30, it's a good time to go into Knoxville. We shall see what shall happen with this game. If you have any thoughts, feel free to share it. It comes down to battle of the quarterbacks. Jalen Milroe, will he be more productive? Will he not turn the ball over? Can he find the end zone? Or will Tennessee's defensive line contain him, put pressure on him, and cause him to force turnovers? Same thing goes with Alabama's defense with Nico. What kind of pressure can they put on them? Because he forced him into mistakes. Again, another time last week, 2 passes at least with open receivers going deep, he overthrows them. That's been the problem for Tennessee's quarterbacks the last 2 years, hitting the deep balls consistently to the receivers. Will they get it? Will they not? Game of inches? You never know. Oi, stunning! Ooh, Ghost. Hey, good to see you tonight. How's work treating you? Good to see you tonight. Hopefully you survived a hard day at work and a long ride. So, folks, Alabama, Tennessee, that's a game you definitely do want to deep on. Yes, I said that. Exactly. Just in time stunning. Oi! All right. Well, Alabama, Tennessee, folks, we can talk more about that game if you have thoughts and comments. Some of these other games, there's not a lot to say. Texas A&M, the Aggies at 5-1, now in the top 15, going on the road to Starkville against the Bulldogs. This is a game earlier in the year I thought that maybe Mississippi State could pull off, but I don't think so now. I'll talk more about my picks later. Mississippi State showed some fight against Georgia, some potential offense with this new quarterback. I want to call him Martin Van Buren as the president, but it's not. That's not it. Um, and Texas A&M is developed a defense out of nowhere. And Connor Wegman finally became a quarterback the last few weeks, actually leading some offense and some scoring. I think you saw with the freshman on the bench coming in and having played against Florida, really doing some good work. Connor Wegman had stepped up his game in the recent weeks. So feel free. This is a game, if you get a chance to watch, this one could be interesting in Starkville. Let's see. God, I hate my phone. Trying to, all right. So, yeah, because this game is at 4:15 on the SEC network. This could be an interesting game. I don't think it's an upset type of game, but it could be fun. There's worse games. I tell you, I'll tell you the game I think of the week to avoid, but this would not be it. Mississippi State returning at home. Look for this to be a tighter game. Not calling it an upset, but this game could be a little bit tighter, especially if Texas A&M goes on the road, just struggles on offense, and Mississippi State gets home and shows half the light they did against the Georgia Bulldogs. It could be a fun game. So work wasn't too bad today. Currently an hour from U.S. border action. Oh wow! Oh, hey, anybody up there to toss him an In-N-Out burger over the border? Sorry, drinking some tea. I would if I could, but we're not there. We are not there. Looking at it now. Next game we got LSU at Arkansas, number 8. LSU is going on the road at the Pigs. Pigs have been up and down really a lot this year. But they've had some good times as well as some down times. They just they come off. They were off last week. They lost 2 weeks ago in Dallas to Texas A&M in a close game. They beat Tennessee in their last game, 19-14 at home. So what does it say for this game? This is a game that could be your upset special of the week. Oh, that means stunning fleeing to Canada. No, no, he's actually on your side of the border. He's on your side of the borders, comic relief. um, but here with LSU at the Pigs, depending on how if Arkansas could protect the ball, they can have a chance in this game. But don't underrate LSU because it looked like they were going to go down big to South Carolina on the road weeks ago, but they rallied at the first half, pulled the game out near the end. But Arkansas's come off one upset of a top 10 team of Tennessee. Can they do it twice? Very possible, folks. It is very possible that they could do that. Let me look at this game on Wikipedia because this is a game where the teams actually have some history. Because these two teams were also members of the big old Southwest Conference many, many years ago. So it's so they used to play years ago, unlike some of the other, like we talked about with Missouri and Auburn being on separate divisions. Now, this is a case where you got two teams that may have actually had reason to play each other. So we got Arkansas and the Pigs. Current win streak is 2 games for LSU in the series. Overall in the series, LSU leads the series 44-23 with 2 ties in this. Arkansas's largest margin of victory is 51-0 with a 4-game winning streak, the longest. LSU, the longest win streak, 7 in a row with the largest margin of victory of 56-20. Let's see. Okay, Wade, I see it. I'll check when I can. Let's see. And of course, recent years is another series that's dominated in the last. In the last 8 games, Arkansas has only won once, 16-13 Thriller and Baton Rouge. But really, it's dating back to 2010. Arkansas has won 4 times. So it's a series of hits of streaks and runs. Right now, LSU has been dominant in the series of this game. The last year in Baton Rouge, LSU wins 34-31. They won in Fayetteville 13-10 2 years ago. So, folks, look for this to be a dogfight, no matter what. That's why I think that this could be your upset special for the week. The Pigs are at home. Uh, Sam Pittman is fighting for his job. So far, things have stabilized with the current where they're at right now as a team. But can they get enough offense to outscore LSU in this game? That's what it comes down to. And even if LSU falls down early, do not be surprised if they come back win the game. All right, so we move, and that's actually a game that used to be, I think, on Thanksgiving weekend sometimes, but unless I'm thinking Arkansas, Missouri, anyway. But hey, I digress. A game of out the one game not involving a conference opponent this week. Ball State travels to Vanderbilt. Yes, I said Ball State. They travel to Vandy. Can this a chance for Vandy to get 5-2? Folks, I tell you what, look back to Georgia State. If Vanderbilt falls off the cliff nuts and win another game all year after this week, and they end up 5 wins, they're going to look back at the Georgia State loss as why they missed a bowl game. Vanderbilt is 2 games away from being eligible for a bowl game. This will get them one more closer to it. So, Diego Pavia has led a resurgent of Vanderbilt offense, a team that actually looks competent and really good and fun to watch. I will say, I find it more fun. Yeah, I'm going to say this, folks. I'm going to say this, and I'm trying to keep a straight face. I find watching Vanderbilt football a lot more entertaining than watching Gator football these days. So, yes, I do. It's hard to watch the Gators currently, and in this case, yeah, but all credit to Vanderbilt in this case. But this is a game Vanderbilt could lose, though. I mean, look, they've already lost once to Georgia State. Yes, it was on the road, but it's just down the road in Atlanta. This is a game. This is the type of game that Vanderbilt has to win just to keep making progress. You don't. I mean, they beat Kentucky last week. They upset number 1 Alabama. I mean, things like that. This is the season to get all those goals. This is a team. Vanderbilt, like I said earlier, is close to being 6-0. You beat Georgia State. You beat Missouri, a top 10 team, when you were on the road. You lose to them in overtime. This team is really good, very close to being an undefeated team. And wow, we all want to laugh at that, but not this year. Vanderbilt seems to be for real. If they are, they got to win this game. And really, they should win it convincingly. All right, which gets us to the big game of the week, folks. The Georgia Bulldogs at the Texas Longhorns. You know, it's I don't know. Where do I start with this game? I hate Texas. I hate everything. I just hate Texas. Period. The city, the town, overrated, all stuck on themselves. But of course, I hate Georgia, the Bulldogs. Why? Because they're the Georgia Bulldogs. I will say though that they do. I will say that actually I had this. I thought, dang it. All right. The one good thing about Georgia is that they're in Athens, Georgia, not Greece, in Athens, Georgia, and it's a beautiful town. I'll be honest, it's one of the favorite towns I like to visit. These teams have met 5 times already previously, with Texas winning 4 of the 5. Last time they played was in 2019. Georgia won one time, 10-9, and Texas has won 3 in a row. At one point, it won 3 in a row. The largest margin of victory is 26-7. In 2019, when they played in the Sugar Bowl, Texas won this game 28-21. The one win Georgia had was 1984 Cotton Bowl, where Georgia wins 10-9. And then all the other matches date back to the 50s and 1949. So this is a really new series in the the life of these two teams, which who knows? Maybe this will be a recurring matchup in the SEC championship game if these two teams keep at the levels that they are with where they finish in the league. Georgia already has one loss. Texas is undefeated, and well, see they can they hold serve in Austin with the Georgia Bulldogs coming to town. Uh, Not really much in the way of a series of history. Of course, Georgia, Carson Beck's a quarterback starting has had great numbers through the air, but it's been mistake prone this year. Interceptions, turnovers, looking very slow, lethargic to play at times. Um, Slow start Georgia team. There's a lot of slow starts from this Georgia team. But that's dangerous for them this week in Austin, who with their rabid crowd. I tell you what, I saw them play Alabama 2 years ago. Man, God, or last year. What boy, that was rabid, in Austin. So, Georgia cannot afford to fall down early like they did in the Alabama game where they fell down 28-0. And you can't rally back from as they found it. They rallied, but they fell short in the end. But Texas is no Alabama. Texas is rolling very hot right now. Georgia cannot afford a slow start. Texas, though, I think, can they get out? Can they get going? Quinn Ewers is back again. Will he, from an injury, will Texas get back to its ways playing against good competition? Can they get a hot start and build a big lead early and force Georgia to pass? To me, in this game, one of the biggest keys for this game is the Georgia running game. Can they get Trevor Etienne involved early and get him running the ball effectively against that Texas defense? So in this game, I think the Georgia run game is key. Georgia's got to get some balance on his offense if it's going to be productive on the road in Austin. Which leads us to the last game of the week in the conference is the Kentucky Wildcats at the Florida Gators. I've said all I can do about the Gators and all the ranting about the Gators in Napier. There's not much else to be said. It's just a broken record time. Florida comes into this game, just trying to salvage a season, for that fact. They just, another home game. Hit the wrong button on something. I hate buttons. If Florida comes in with another home game, because they'll have some road games coming up the next few weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how this team does. And they're about to enter the murderer's row of games for the rest of the season. After this, they play Georgia. They have an off week. Then they have Georgia. They have LSU. They have Ole Miss. Again, some massively big teams that they have to play in the weeks to come. Followed even by FSU, even though FSU's not very good, not good at all this year, they still have them later in the year. And hey, Mark, yeah, go Yankees! Damn Yankees! How are you? Good to see you, Mark. So, yep, I appreciate it. And hey, your Syracuse team's doing okay at times this year, though. You got the Ohio State quarterback who's deciding to throw the ball all over the field these days. It's kind of cool. This game dates back forever. Florida leads the series 53-21. No ties in this. But what's odd is that this is a series that Florida won almost every matchup for about 30 years there, from the 80s until the 2000s. But Kentucky has won the last three matchups. 2 in Kentucky, 1 in Gainesville. And even in 2018, they won in Gainesville. Prior to the Kentucky win in Gainesville in 2018, Florida had won every game since 1987. The last time Kentucky had beat Florida was in 1986 in a 10-3 game where I was at a chess tournament that day because I was so dissatisfied with the Gators that day. But all the way from 87 to 2017, that's 30 years, the Florida won like 31 in a row before Kentucky won, and now Kentucky has won 4 of 6. This is one of those embarrassing series that it's like, as a Gator, it's like this should not happen. This is like losing to Vanderbilt. Kentucky's a dog, should be treated as dogs and never do anything. But look, lost. They beat Florida 33-14 last year, 26-16 in 2022, 2013, and 2021, and 27, 16, and 2018. So, hey, go figure. Yep, Syracuse is looking good. Absolutely. That they are. This game here has come down to Kentucky's defense. Brock Vandagriff is like, this is the type of game Brock Vandagriff threw for 400 yards and Kentucky scored 30 points. I'm telling you. Florida's deceptive defense last week, everybody's getting hoped up because they stopped Tennessee, held them to 17 points in regulation, all this other stuff. But this is the type of week where Florida will collapse and Kentucky will run the ball down the third, score 30, 40 points. Right? I have a bad feeling with this game. DJ Lagway takes over as the permanent starter because, as this was mentioned earlier, Graham Mertz got hurt in the Tennessee game, is now out for the year. He got hurt on the last play. His last collegiate play will be a touchdown pass he threw, but he landed gingerly, awkwardly, and it twisted a knee. So with that, Florida, who knows with Lagway? We'll see what happens. We'll see now that it's his team, and see how long the administration will ride with Billy Napier. Will he be fired after this week if they lose again? Are they going to keep piddling around? Because Florida could win this game. I'll be honest. Florida could win this game. Florida could beat FSU. All they need is one other win, and they could be eligible for a bowl game. And then it'd be like them to say, well, we're going to give them another year. No, dude, the experiment's over. The guy knows he can't coach an SEC school. It needs to be done, dealt with. Why they haven't pulled the trigger, I still think it's incompetence. But then again, what are your options? Lane Kiffin is one that I talked about, but now Mississippi fans are frustrated with him because he can't win the big game. And they're right. Lane Kiffin has not been able to beat Alabama, LSU, their big rivals. And that's frustrating when you get a school like that. Like coming to Florida, you better beat Tennessee, you better beat Georgia and FSU. There's no way around it. So we got still 8 of y'all still with us. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And thanks for appreciate it if you share it out. So with this game, folks, I think, like I said, it comes down to Kentucky's offense. Can they move the ball? Can they score? Florida turn the ball over. Kentucky is very good defensively. That's one thing. No matter what, they have a good defense. And in some of the games in Gainesville, especially, it's been the Kentucky defense that's led the way to get them in position of beating the Gators. Can they run the ball against Florida? Florida make mistakes. It comes down to if you like football, it should be a good game. As a Gator fan, I don't like this game because this is the team that if Florida beat 45-0, I think it's a bad game because Kentucky's Kentucky at football. It's not Kentucky basketball. It's a pride thing. It's a snob thing. But hey, when you grew up winning 31 friggin' games in a row, most of them not even close, including one that was 73-7. Thank you, head ball coach Steve Spurrier, and 65-0. Thank you, Steve Spurrier. You know how to coach and score points, unlike these youngsters. You do get kind of looking down on some people. Like Alabama did Vanderbilt, and look what happened. All right. So, hey, that is the matchups for this week. So, folks, we are going to roll into it and let y'all have any thoughts on any of these games. Feel free to share. We will go ahead and take a look at our matchups for my predictions for this week. We'll see where I am with the picks right now. Last time that I came together, I was 9-2, 45-12 overall on the season for picking. So we'll jump into the picks now. And we will go to the first game of the week. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Not gambling. Remember, it's not gambling. We're just friends having fun talking some football here. So let's go. All right. Let's jump into it. Auburn and Missouri, the first game of the week. And I'm taking the Tigers at home. It's just too many questions about Auburn's quarterback, Peyton Thorne. When will he melt down and make a mistake? He looked good the last 2 weeks, I thought, by his standards. But Missouri, though, it's hard to go against Luther Burden at home with Brady Cook. Missouri has too much, so I think, in this game. So then we go on to our next game of the week. We've got South Carolina at Oklahoma. again, this is a game that I struggle with. I really struggle with this one because Oklahoma's has no offense. They've had a very stellar defense. So this game, folks, could be an ugly looking game. This is one you probably expect a very low scoring game. If you like defensive football, this could be your game. Both teams have good defenses, not just default. Well, they both have bad offenses, so it may look like a bad football game, but really, you got two balanced teams here. With the defense is the primary key for each of them. The key in this game can South Carolina run the football. If South Carolina can get on track running the football again early, they may show some success at Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a few close wins at home, has not been dominant at home as they've been in previous years due to the lack of offense. So really, how far what Carolina's offense does will put pressure on Oklahoma's offense. You know, it's one of those games that it could be if Carolina can get the offense moving like it did against LSU or like it did against Alabama for that matter. They could have an easy win here on the road against the Sooners. So Sooner Schooner breaks a wheel on the field this week. All right, we'll go on to our next game of the week. We've got Alabama and Tennessee. I'm taking the ball, so rock it up, oh, rock it up. On the, let's see those goalposts fly back into the Tennessee River after this game again. They didn't charge the field last week after beating Florida, so they're going to be going down this week. So Storm, I'm sure they'll pay the fine. The field will be stormed. There'll be two in a row against Alabama at home. I just do not see Tennessee being down on offense at a third week. This team is too good. Josh Heupel is a very competent head coach. I don't understand what happened with them with Florida. I fully expected them to be in gear against the Gators and just easily handle the Gators, but they didn't. Alabama's got problems between the coaching staff, the players. I mean, you've seen defensive meltdowns where players pitching fits, kicking footballs, stepping on players at Alabama. Not a typical disciplined Alabama team we've seen. Not just against Vanderbilt. Some last week against South Carolina, there were some bad discipline issues. So there's a lot of talk and turmoil in Alabama by their standards. As one Alabama YouTuber said, this is probably not the weakest team in 15 or 16 years that they have. And we're just only 1 year out of the next season after Saban retired. Tennessee, Nico is due for a big game throwing the football. The thing with his case is hopefully the fans. It's actually a case for as hard as I've been on the Gators. I've not been hard on Lagway. He's a freshman. He's got to be learned to make mistakes and stuff like that. I'm hard on the head coach. What I hear is a lot of the Tennessee fans are hard on the quarterback. He's a freshman. He's 19. He's young. He's got talent. He's got a hell of an arm. He's got talent. You just got to bear with him a little bit. And he's not done anything hideously reprehensible. Well, see that's Treon Harris that used the quarterback for the Gators. But give Tennessee some time. Dylan Sampson, 3 touchdowns against the Gators. Tennessee will determine that they will be happy running the football, being consistent in it, I think it could solve a lot of their problems and help open the pass game. But again, I take Tennessee at home against Alabama in a close game. Of course, Alabama has Tennessee. Both of them have good kickers. Will this be a field goal game? I don't know, but I think this is why this game is at 3:30 and not noon, because it is the second best game of the week. Although this is the game this is a game I want to watch more so than the other one because this is a historic SEC rivalry. Tennessee hates Florida. Tennessee hates a lot of people. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, but Tennessee, Alabama, folks, this is a riot. This is a hideous. This is hatred between two states. So, all right, we will move on to the next matchup we have. Texas A&M at the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. I will take Texas A&M. Too much offense, and I think their defenses will shut down Mississippi State this week. Like I said, impressive performance by the quarterback Van Buren at Georgia, but Texas A&M's got a stellar defense. they've been very impressive this year. So looks like the Aggies have rebounded from their year or two hiatus in terms of being good. All right, we'll move on to our next game. LSU on the road to Arkansas. I will take LSU because until they lose again, I'm going to stay with LSU. LSU. That's why Rich Bergen was here to listen because it's like Ole Miss and LSU were between my top two to make the SEC championship game. And I struggled between the two of them, but with Ole Miss losing, I should have gone with LSU. But LSU should win at Arkansas. But I do think that this is a trap game. This is a game that if LSU is not ready, Arkansas gets the right breaks in the game, is efficient on offense, they can win this game. All right, we move on to our next game, and it's Ball State at Vanderbilt. Obviously, Vanderbilt with this game. If Vanderbilt doesn't win this game, then everybody needs to get off the bandwagon because you just got to. If you're going to be legitimate, you need to win this game, win it easily. Still harping on that they lost to Georgia State, but anyway, that being said, we shall move on to our next game, which will be the Georgia Bulldogs at the Texas Longhorns at a 7:30 game on ABC. This is your primetime game for the SEC that week, and I will take the Dogs on the road. Everything says Texas, their momentum, the crowd at home at night. Everything screams, Texas this game, but still, I like Carson Beck. I like Kirby Smart. I don't see Georgia laying an egg on the road twice in 1 year like they did against Alabama. So let's see with the Dogs. Like I said earlier, I do believe Trevor Etienne has to get involved early and often with this Georgia offense or one of the other running backs. But let's think Etienne especially. And which leads us to our last game of the week, the Kentucky Wildcats at the Florida Gators. And yes, you're not misreading it. You're not misreading it. I'm taking Kentucky for the 5th time in 7 games. Again, in the swamp. You say, why in the swamp? Because basically Kentucky doesn't care about it being the swamp anymore. They have won several times there recently. Very dominant over Florida also. Led by their defense primarily. I look at more in that, even though it'll be Lagway's first start against an SEC team, and it'll be at home. I hope the kid does well. I hope they throws for a lot, but I see Napier pulling him back. I see the offensive play calls being crappy, conservative, and for a kid that throws the ball downfield, I think they're going to force him into stupid clap shift and 2-yard dink passes a lot. And Kentucky, honestly, give them credit. If Kentucky could ever find a quarterback, if Mark Stoops could ever find a legitimate quarterback up there in Kentucky, they could win the SEC because his defensive teams are just astounding, always among some of the best in the country. But yeah, so look for another 3-4. If they win, yay, big yay. They get to go get crushed by Georgia in a couple weeks. But all right, well, that's it. That's what I have for that, folks. That's this last week and this week coming up in the SEC. I appreciate y'all being with us too, and I'm going to end up tossing it now. We've been an hour, 8 minutes. Be sure to hit that like button, share out the stream next time, subscribe. Next week's show may be on a Tuesday night if we have a stream next Tuesday night, because we will be traveling on the following Wednesday. But Saturday night, I plan to do another one with something that I've been just doing sometimes with JT Kirk as he's been available. The Scoreboard show on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. We just go live, talk football. We talk about scores that have happened during the day and talk about the games that are ongoing at the time. And actually, last Saturday night, we had a lot of fun. I had some new people in the chat hanging out, talking football as the Tennessee-Florida game wound down. And so join us for this. I hope this is something because, stable and fun. Then we, on Tuesday the 29th, we'll be getting back from vacation, but Miss Daisy Blossom and I will be resuming our At the Movies with Independence Day. Yes, Independence Day. The movie that started all with our aliens and stuff like that. So, yes, the loudest scene was not the White House blowing up, but the Congress. I remember that scene, seeing it in the theater when Congress blew up. Everybody cheered and all. That makes me think of Mars Attack with the grandma. They blew up Congress. So, and hey, speaking of him right here, he snuck in right here. Hell, JT Kirk, good to see you. Yes, and like I just said, Saturday night we're gonna try to do another scoreboard show this week, and it was fun last week as we watched the end of the Tennessee game. Great to see you tonight, JT. So, oh, Stoney said we're transforming your chat, David. Transformers talk is taking over. That's okay. We can always do a. We're done with the football, so we can definitely do stuff like that. Transformers is always cool. I remember our stream with the Transformers was definitely awesome. But speaking of awesome, Monday night, this Monday night at 8 p.m., Mrs. and I. Oh, Mrs. Hey, I'll be quiet. Let you
Hello.
talk. Hey,
Oh, you want me to pitch it?
sure, go ahead. You popped on.
Okay, Monday at 8 p.m., we're going to do a trick or treat with the Dadmans. We're going to be showing a bunch of do-it-yourself Halloween costumes, and they are amazing. I've got a lot of them from online. If you guys are looking for costume ideas, I'm actually got the links to the directions on how to do them. We have couples, we have individuals, and we have kids costumes. Just a whole bunch of them, and I think it's going to be a fun time. So that will be Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we've already got our costumes, as you can see. I am a vintage pretty princess, and Dadman's got a face hugger.
Nice, especially the larger image. I can see much more detail than I could on the little one.
Yeah, the phone was kind of small.
Yeah, that's cool. I liked it.
Uh,
Uh,
And can I pitch some of my stuff now,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
did you
go
want to
ahead.
finish
Yeah,
with the chat?
yeah,
Okay,
no, go ahead.
on Mondays, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m., we do Puzzles Birthday Celebration memes. On Morning Musings with Mrs. Dadman Walking 55, your daily dose of positivity. We have a good time. Actually going to be adding something a little different starting tomorrow. So I hope you guys like it. And also tomorrow at 5 p.m., I'm going to be puttering around with Lego Fortnite. It's exactly what it says. I am on Lego Fortnite and I am puttering around. Um, I am collecting wood and granite and red rock, whatever there is, and just kind of messing around in my little villages. So if you want to come hang around and just kind of chat and chill, you are more than welcome to come. And I think Mikey Susie Four is here, Dad man. I
Yes,
just
yeah, I
happened to
was
see
letting
him.
you
If you
finish.
wanted
Yeah.
to go ahead and say hello, and then I will
Well,
continue from there.
well, I'm going to go. Mikey, good to see you, but I want to come back to this comment in just a second. Him and JT
Okay.
Kirk. So I'll let you go ahead and finish.
Okay. And on Tuesday at 1 p.m., I'm going to be doing a block party. I'm going to be building an Incredible Hulk. You can see the bricks are a little different. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. And I will be doing that on Tuesday. And I think, yep, that's it.
Okay.
Now
All
it's your
right.
turn.
Cool. Yes, and hello to Dave. Dave's here too. So hey, welcome,
Hello.
Dave. Good to see you
Do
tonight.
you want me to
Uh,
stay on, or do you want me
Yeah,
to?
sure. Stay on, because I do want to ask you a question in a second. But and
Okay.
folks, if y'all have anything national, I'll take it. We'll talk some national football if you want to. I think BS and JT saying it's about BS. So they schedule it at 9 o'clock. It's Michigan State and Michigan on the Big Ten Network. I think the BS is that it's a weird ass time, and it's stuck on. Nobody has the Big Ten Network. It's like they stuck another Michigan State game in a place where nobody can see it. I think that's what he's calling BS on. So, but yeah, I understand, dude, and especially a hatred or rivalry game. You can't get it on ESPN or Fox or anything anywhere else. It's some of the same old stuff. But I'll look at something in just a second when the missus talks in a second. But Mikey says if Arizona State beats Cincinnati this weekend, they better get a top 20. Yeah, because I think Arizona State only has one loss, and they've actually upset a few teams this year. They've actually had a really good year this year, and from what I've seen, they should be in the top 25 already, but they are not. But they got to wait until after Vanderbilt gets to the top 25, right, Mrs.
Sure.
So, what did you think about Vanderbilt? I thought of you with
I think
Vanderbilt in the top 25 and with the two service academies. What did you think?
I think that is so cool. As you know, I cheer for Vandy all the time. I've cheered for them for years. We've done family polls,
Mhm.
picks, and I always pick Vandy, no matter who they were playing. I knew they were going to lose most of the time, but I always picked them. And so I'm so happy to see that they are potentially could be qualified for a bowl game. That would be so cool. Like you say, I hope Georgia State doesn't come and kick them in the butt, bite them in the
Well,
butt. But
I will say if Vanderbilt somehow got selected to come to the Gator Bowl, I don't think that they would because of crowd draws. Because I know how they select the teams, but I'd take it that game if they did.
I would go watch it in a heartbeat. If they're close, I would go watch them in a
Yeah.
heartbeat. But I'm just so happy for them because they're just a I just yay go Vandy.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
wanna see them
yeah.
climb up. I wanna see them climb up that chart a little bit. And the fact that, what is it, Army and Navy, or is it Air Force?
Yes, Army and Navy. Army is 6-0, ranked 23rd. Navy is 25th at 5-0.
That
And
is
and
something.
yeah, and that's an AP poll. Navy's not ranked in the coaches poll, but still, it's JT's favorite. Nebraska's 25th in the coaches poll, but yes, I think makes easy forward, but they still got a few teams to jump though. But you would think that they would be in top 25. We talked about earlier some of the Big Ten teams like Indiana and Illinois. They're in the top 25. But yeah, JT, I saw that. This is BS because why do you play this crap game on Fox? Kansas State, West Virginia. I don't care that Kansas State is in the top 10, the top 17. West Virginia is 3-3. What a dumpster fire! They can't beat anybody worth burning couches over. If you were with me the other night, I talked about the couch burning tradition. But I mean, how do you pass on a Michigan State game? It's Michigan. If not for else, Michigan 5, put them on and have a rivalry game. But so yes, it does. It says the fact they beat Bama says something. Exactly. And I did say hi to Dave. I want to make sure I said hi to Dave again to make sure if I hadn't. So, Mikey says that NFL can believe the Chiefs and Vikings are both 5-0. I can believe the Chiefs are 5-0 because they got the officials helping them every week, right, JT? But I know some people that like the Vikings 5-0. We're not at the Dolphins. Hope both teams lose yet, but 17 a record. From 72, a sacred record to stay untouched. Yes, that what he's referring to. If you don't know, the Miami. There's only been one perfect NFL team from beginning to end that won the Super Bowl. It's the 72 Dolphins. They have a
Woo-hoo!
tradition.
Sorry, I remember
They
when that happened. Can I tell you about that real quick? I was in middle
sure.
school. I was in middle school, and our teacher
I
was
was
a
too.
humongous Dolphin fan. Humongous. So when they went undefeated and won the Super Bowl, we had a party time in our classroom. That's all I'm gonna say. So
All
I
right. Well,
remember that. That's one
we
thing I
got
know. You tell me the only undefeated NFL team, and I could tell you.
we
I might
got
not be
12
able to tell
people.
you the year, but
We got 12
up,
people
up,
with us.
up. I keep doing
Make
that
sure
just to annoy you. I'm sorry.
no,
I'll
I
stop.
love it. I love it. No, okay, keep going. We got 12 people with us. We might have an all night party now at this point. People showing
Oh, no,
up and
I gotta
having
go to
fun.
bed.
Well, I know we will at some point, but we can have some fun because the great Phantom Outsider is here. Hell Phantom. Hell Phantom. What I was going to say was that the surviving Dolphin players, they get to, when the last team loses, I think they all get together and have a drink or have cigars. They
Mm.
they they all celebrate. They do a toast that their record's still alive. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
No. It's hallowed, and like you said, it's a sacred record to the Dolphins fans and to the Dolphins players. That is very, very true. So, of course, if you're like anything fan outsider, I think it's probably New York, New Jersey. If he follows the NFL, of course, the Mardi was thanks the Giants for preserving that record. Hey, the Cowboys do its part every week. They keep finding new ways to lose worse and worse at home these days. So, um, Mike, you said they beat the Redskins to get that record. But did you know? But I tell you what, in all seriousness, though, has been a team that went undefeated in an NFL season recently.
Yes.
It
Oh
was the New
gosh, who
England
was that?
Patriots. The New England Patriots and Tom Brady. The problem is they lost to Mark's New York Giants in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yes, that's what he's referring to there,
Yep.
is that because the Giants, they preserved that record. So,
I remember that
uh,
because I remember them saying this might be the second undefeated in pre and postseason play.
oh yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah,
You
it's
get that here? I said pre and postseason because, like, I know what they are.
mm, there you go. Yeah, yeah. And Mikey said that Peyton Manning attended one of the celebrations, did an interview with him. Nice, nice. Although I don't like Peyton Manning, but that's a different issue. So, so Mrs. I mean, for people that just come in and chat, you don't have to pull the slide up. So Monday night, we're going to talk about DIY costumes, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a show on, Halloween costumes, and I was deciding on whether we should do, like, make sure store-bought and homemade ones, but I tell you, I found so many, do-it-yourself ones, and I'm gonna tell you, they're amazing. Um, and they're not like, a ghost or a witch. These things are one of them, it took sculpting. They did I'm gonna
Mhm.
say I'm gonna do a spoiler. There's one that they are Lego people,
Mm,
7-foot Lego people. It is amazing what they did, and they gave the do it how to do it, the instructions. So, I mean, they're just phenomenal, these costumes, and, some of them look really impressive, and they're not difficult to do. And so if somebody is watching and that's like, "Oh, I need a Halloween costume," and they go, "Oh, that's a good idea." I will put the links I'm gonna put all the links in and have them available, because I really think it's important to give credit where credit is due.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's
All
gonna be
right.
fun. It's Dad Man
Mhm.
hasn't seen any of the costumes,
No, I
so,
haven't.
they're gonna be a surprise to him.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I like surprises. I like when I get surprised. Someone on Etsy made a 3D model of Shockwave's gun arm that you can wear from Transformers. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's amazing, some of the stuff.
DIY Pig and Billy from Saw haven't shown it. Oh, cool. Okay.
Billy,
For
it's
JT
a
out
little
there,
tricycle.
for some JT out there, for some of the bad matchups of the week that he gets to watch on Fox instead of Michigan State. Well, although which week is Michigan State? That's let's see. Yeah, I don't think that's not this week though. I don't think Michigan State. I think it's the following week, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, because Michigan is in Illinois this week. Um, let's see. Yeah, 10/26. So it's next Saturday is Michigan State. Yeah, it's 7:30. But I got you though. But hey, yep, exactly. But hey, I tell you what, there's some of the bad games you got to choose from this week. South Carolina, Oklahoma could be a very, very bad game. Virginia at Clemson, 12 o'clock on the ACC network. Uh, Wisconsin, or as I say, Pisconsin and Northwestern at noon on the Big Ten network. Wake Forest at UConn. Sorry, Mark, on CBS Ed at noon Sunday. As Mikey said earlier, Arizona State is at Cincinnati on ESPN Plus at 12 noon. Um, let's see some of the. Let's see. North Carolina State at Cal. Houston at Kansas. These are some of the wonderful games you've got this week. Colorado at Arizona on Fox. These are the games like Fox picks. On Friday night, they got Purdue and Oregon. Oh my God. Like, geez. If you want to see Michigan State, that's one of the complaints JT's had is that they can't be on somewhere. Although, JT, if you can go NBC, Iowa and Michigan State Saturday night at 7:30 on NBC Peacock. or you could get Florida and Kentucky at 7:45. UNLV and Oregon State play 10 o'clock. That's so. You remember, Mrs. How I'd stay up to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning watching football on the West Coast? With
Uh-huh.
these new conference alignments, it's weird. It's like there are no more 11 o'clock games. There used to be like four, like 6 or 7. Now Oregon State and UNLV play at 10. TCU and Utah at 10:30. That's it.
Huh.
I mean,
Well,
man,
see,
I
that's
miss those
making me I'm
days.
starting to yawn. Sorry, guys.
Yes, Iowa's coming to East Lansing this Saturday. Wee. Oh, JT, you got to go to that game. Hey, but hey, last week Iowa scored 40 points against Washington. They scored 40 in a regulation game. So I don't know. Maybe they're onto something finally. The Phantom says the same lore is that 72 celebrates every season when the last undefeated. Yes, they do. Seems more likely they do that in years when team it's 10 wins or more. No, it's the fact that they went to perfection these days. That's the thing is, yeah, but nowadays they play so many damn games. It's easy for a team to get 10. Yeah. JT. If I go there, it's going to be 6-9 or something. Yeah, exactly. We know how that goes. It's good. It's my luck, dude. All right. It's like when they come to the Gator Bowl, those years, it's like I try to avoid it. I think the last time they came here, they played Tennessee and got routed. It's just why I just anyway. All right. Well, we've got 10 people with us. We've been going almost an hour and a half. Mrs. Thank you for jumping on, for producing tonight, for advancing the slides, for helping clean up a lot of my mess. Thank you for being here with me tonight. And
Oh, you're
you want
welcome.
to promote your show for tomorrow one last time?
Oh, sure. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. is Morning Musings with Mrs. Dadman Walking. We have puzzles, birthday celebrations, memes, and we're also going to do a little bit of what happened today, this date in history. That's our new
Ooh.
little thing we're going to do. I think it's going to be kind of fun. So that
Is
will
it
be
is it replacing something? Is it
nope.
replacing something or just
Nope,
had it? Oh,
it's
cool.
just gonna kinda be a little, I found a neat little site that can, share some stuff, and it's got some kinda cool things there. So, yeah, I'm gonna do that and to see how it goes. So, that show, we kind of mess around with it until, we get it how we like it. Some things work and some things don't, and it might be the
All
only
right.
day I do it, or I might keep it and do something else, who knows? So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
All right. Folks, get out there, knock up the rafters and knock the people out of their sacks and stuff and all. Rattle them on, share out the channel. We're down to 660 subscribers now.
Oh my
So
gosh, you were
which
661 before the show. Who'd you
it's
tick
what it
off?
is. It's just, probably the whole world these days. I don't know. I feel like I need to be Walter, Jeff Dunham's puppet. Yeah, I
Oh
don't.
my gosh, you
Good.
are 660. Oh my
I know
goodness.
it's like I don't know what the hell happened, but well, what matters is that people come out, hang out with us, and have some fun. But hey, don't subscribe to me. Subscribe to the missus if you haven't. Make sure get her to 500, get her monetized, and we will have fun. And but the main thing is join us for a lot of fun and everything else. So yeah, I know you're Peanut. There's no doubt about that. I want to be the good old curmudgeon. Yeah, welcome to Walmart. Get your shit and get out. So I'm
Gosh, who am
Walter.
I if you're Walter and he's Peanut?
Uh,
Jalapeno on the stick. No,
yeah, you can be jalapeno, Jose Jalapeno, or
I'm gonna say
well, he
jalapeno.
doesn't he doesn't have a female character though.
No, he has no
He could
female
be
character.
he could be Ahmed. Uh,
No, I don't want to be the no, I don't want to be the T word.
well,
I can't say the
uh,
word. I don't want to get you in trouble.
I know, but hey, well, that's just which way. I'm trying to think of the other ones you got. You could be Bubba Boo with the
Bubba,
beard.
I could be Bubba.
Oh,
Bubba.
Bubba. All right. Well, hey, folks, thanks for being here. We
I only
have.
run 2 times. I run out of beer and I run to go get some more. Sorry. I was
That's
being
all.
brought up.
No, don't apologize. It's oh, which one of Jeff is a female character. So I love that. But hey, all right. Well, with 11 people now watching us, thank you so much for being here. We hit the hour and a half officially. Catch the live streams and videos on youtube.com and twitch.tv at dadmanwalking55. Follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to us and like us over on YouTube. Also, follow me on Twitter at RX at DadmanWalking55 to get the latest when I do go live. If you don't get the notifications on the other things, and at this point, I'm planning for next Tuesday since we'll be leaving on Wednesday. But hey, thanks again for tuning in tonight with me on the road. Thanks to Mrs. for the use of her computer and for her help as a producer tonight. And on that note, everybody, have a great night. We will see you later. Bye.
Bye bye.